Good afternoon, folks. So, what I do my weekly outlook, just going to talk a little bit about last week and what happened within last week. Talk about how my week went, and just kind of look at the areas I was paying attention to last week and were they relevant or not, and the sort of um, options and trades in and around those areas. But last week, I only traded one day last week, I believe. I think it was Tuesday. I took a sell and got a win. So um, I wasn't at the charts on Friday. So there was a couple of days where I was trading, a couple of days where I weren't, a couple of days where there wasn't anything that I was comfortable with. Um, but looking at the sort of areas I was paying attention to, what I sort of found last week was based on those areas where I wanted to buy above or sell below. And trade options did come in and around those areas, but it was after my trade session, and I will kind of just go through that. But it might be something to introduce, down the line, especially when you're trading higher time frames like 1 hours and things like that. If you're sort of waiting on those closes, you may not get the options within your trade window. But looking at last week, these were the sort of areas I wanted to buy above. I marked out 2 areas. So I'm just in the replay tool and completely went back a week. So this is where I wanted to buy above, also wanted to buy above here, and then of course selling below here and selling below here. I kind of just skipped through on Monday. Let me see, where are we here? Yeah, so this is our session candle. Again, Monday was a no trade day for me. Let me just double check. Yeah, so Monday, yeah, I sort of preferred buys on Monday coming into the session. This is my session candle, and I wanted to buy above here. But I can clearly see price didn't get above here. There was sort of options on Monday, however, not something I wasn't really comfortable with. Again, just looking at the sort of areas I wanted to pay attention to, so we can clearly see that price closed below here, my session candle, and then we got continuation. So just looking at that on the lower time frames to see what sort of price action was in and around there. It was quite tough to get into this move based on all these time frames. Seems to be that maybe the 5 minute might have been the one involved in terms of structure. When I'm looking at these levels, I'm looking to see, can price close below or above and then create some form of structure, or come down and create structure just before and then break it, and then that would be like the continuation. So that was the first area where we closed below, continued up and down. There isn't that much, but the second area I was looking to sell from is below here. Again, these are coming outside of my session time, so I'm merely just reflecting on these to see, well, what did price action do around these areas? Was there a trade setup which fit my plan in terms of what I like to see? And if I just drop to the 1 hour, see here that there was a nice close below, and then there's like a lower resistance on the 1 hour, and that looks like a nice setup. That would be something that I would trade during my session. And I just skipped through to the DXY, so let me just hop back to DJSX. Okay, I must have just hit the space bar. Oh, yeah. So even looking at this on the 30 minute as well, clearly see that we broke below, closed below, lower resistance formed, which is respecting this area, also respecting this bigger range support, and then price starts to break down. So that was a nice opportunity there, trade setup, which would fit my sort of plan, and that came just after. And this is what I found a few days last week, where this happened a couple of times, but I didn't take these trades because, of course, it's not in my trade session, and I don't want to go against that at the moment. But that was sort of the first opportunity which set up there. Looking at Tuesday, this is where yeah, this is where I was able to get involved in a sell. Yeah. So I caught my sell in here on this wick down, basically kind of similar to trades options the week before, just rejection of this zone. Was able to catch a nice little sell. But looking at where price is, my session candle closed above this support, or not above the support, sorry, above this high and this ray, which is where I would have wanted to buy from. What I'm merely looking for in here is, since we're above this support, price to hold above the support and then continue up to into this range, potentially up into here, which is the most recent, resistance. If it just dropped to the 1 hour, I'll just skip through the next 4 hour. That's how the next 4 hour candle close, drop into the 1 hour. Clearly see what closed above, pull back the previous structure, a nice hourly close. That trade could have easily been taken on the 1 hour time frame. Nice solid confirmation. Here's also an option to maybe take a trade from here to test here and see if we continue. But again, these sort of trade opportunities are coming outside of my session. So again, this one came at 11. Not last week, the day before on the Monday, the exact same time came at 11 below. So it's kind of good to see that where I was picking areas to get involved in, or should provide easier opportunities, by just waiting. There's 2 opportunities there solely based on the markup of those levels. So that obviously tells me a good thing. What I'm looking at is correct in that sense, which is good. Let me see. Yeah, so Wednesday again, mixed session, or a bullish bias. I just wasn't comfortable trading in here because we're trading in an area where 2 weeks ago I wasn't comfortable buying from. But the more I sort of looked at the session and reflected and looked at improvements, there was a nice option to buy in there, but something I wasn't comfortable with on the day, so just something I didn't get involved in. But again, I think this is Wednesday. I believe this is prior to the budget and that sort of stuff, so maybe this is just that sentiment being absorbed into the market prior. If I just look at around, got the first point area, which is going to be the same in the way down, and then here as well. I'm just looking to see straight continuation here. No real option to get involved in structure on 15, 30 or 1 hour at this level. But if I look at this level again, kind of similar to Mondays, we sort of react out there, form a support, weak support, next candle respects the high, closes below, continuation comes again. What time does that come at? Just roughly around 11 onwards, similar to Monday and Tuesday. So again, that could have been a potential option. And then of course, just looking, fast forwarding into, this is my session candle here. A little area I picked up here, let me see. Yeah, this was Thursday. And I kind of looking at this time frame, I was thinking to myself, well, what makes more sense, buys or sells based on these 2 candles? I don't want to buy above here because I'm buying into daily resistance or our support zone. I actually prefer to look for options to sell. And looking at this time frame, below this wick here makes a lot of sense, but when I went down to the 1 hour, I could see that there was a little support in here. And this is where we sort of had continuation day before. So one thing I didn't want to do was take sales here, price pop down into this potential support, and then maybe go this way. So I sort of marked up this low as cleaner sales below, and I kind of just skipped through. That's exactly what happened. But again, this is outside of my trade session, similar to basically all the days this week so far. The opportunity been coming at 11:30. Now that's not to say there's options within my session, because there has been, but there hasn't been anything that I was really comfortable with. I'm sort of just marking up cleaner areas and just seeing what happens in and around that area. And just looking at the 15-minute time frame, you can kind of see the price came down here, broke below, formed a support, lower resistance, and then we sort of got that continuation. So there was options there, but it's just interesting to see how these options have all been setting up around a similar time, like 11 o'clock or just after. Um, um, and if I had have just traded these points this week, I could have been involved in these options. But discipline is important for me and something I want to obviously focus greatly on. So just kind of seeing this repetition play out, it's going to give me confidence to potentially get involved in these down the line, when I have more time throughout the day. Well, that's Thursday. And then of course, looking at Friday, if I just kind of go back to here, coming into my session, this is what I'm looking at. What makes more sense, buys or sells? For me, just looking at this point where I want to sell below from earlier on in the week, we've come up and reacted at that, formed a resistance, and then we've formed like a weak support. So this could have been seen as potentially just a deeper pullback into a previous level of structure for further downside, or this could also be seen as support formed at previous support, break of structure to the upside, pull back to potentially previous support or a higher support formed. And as soon as we break up, can take buys to the upside. So for me on Friday, buying above this high made a lot of sense because I'm buying away from the support, these resistant levels, and above where I think sales make sense from. So, but I like the look of sales. For me, sales is buying on this right here. Below this makes a lot of sense because if price fails to continue up and price starts to come down, we're breaking the support that was formed here. We're also trading below daily resistance, 4-hour resistance, daily support. We're trading away from this 4-hour support zone, and this is where cleaner sales made sense. When we broke below here, there was selling opportunities here as well. So that was sort of what I was thinking on Friday. But this is the session candle, kind of just confirmed the support, but again it's weak. There's more of a rejection on that candle, and then price just rolled over to the downside. And I'm kind of just looking at what happened in and around this level here on the 15. No structure in and around, but there was structure below on the 15. So that could have potentially been a trade option, but again, that's all setting up outside of my trade session, so nothing in there for me. But again, looking at what happened prior, this looks like a nice setup in a sense that we have some sort of range here. We break out of the range, pull back to the range, form lower resistance, and we start to break down. So that's just a bit of a reflection on last week. And based on what I done last week in my weekly outlook, I'm pretty happy with that in terms of all the areas I marked out of areas of interest that I want to pay attention to, or where it makes more sense to buy above or sell below, was really accurate, which is good to take away. So hopefully I can continue that on to this week. But that's just a bit of a reflection based on what I marked up. How did it go? What opportunities were in and around those levels? Common factors. Majority of opportunities came outside of my session around a similar time. All could have been taken on comfortable time frames, 30 minutes, 1 hour. And basically just my week only ended with one trade taken on Tuesday, which was a winning trade, and the other days just wasn't comfortable in areas to trade. But there were opportunities in those sessions, so that's just a little update on how my week went and the sort of areas I'm going to pay attention to. I feel like I might just continue to do this. I don't know whether to just upload this as like a weekly reflection or something. But I think it's just good to keep tabs on, well, what did I plan and was it right or was it wrong? What could I have improved on and that sort of stuff, because like sometimes when you do a weekly outlook, it's so easy to just or it's not even so easy. I think in the past I've found that I maybe haven't reflected on my week in terms of, am I on the right track? Am I looking at the right stuff? So that's just a little video of how my week went, and the areas I was paying attention to. So I will just pause this, probably stop this, and then just continue on with my with what I'm looking at for next week. That's that.